Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. We have got a custom one color acrylic set with some gorgeous 3D work. If you are interested in seeing how I did this, definitely stay tuned. But just to get an idea of what the client had on before, here we go. She had this, so if you are interested in seeing this, definitely check it out in the cards. I've got that there for you. This was a really cool kind of red velvet chrome snowflake and bling holiday set. Loved it. She didn't have this for a really long time. Usually this client will wear her nails for about a month exactly and come back, and there's about a good amount of growth, but this was a lot less than that. We wanted to just kind of go for a neutral set. Her birthday is coming up in January for the new year. Happy New Year. How about that? Happy New Year. Her birthday is coming up and we've been talking about sets that we want to do. So I knew that we needed to do like an in-between set that would kind of get her through January after the Christmas holiday, but wasn't going to be too significant that would, you know, outdo her birthday set, which will be coming. So stay tuned for that. First thing I did, as always, spray the client down with some alcohol and then gently, super gently push her cuticles back with a cuticle pusher. This client has very sensitive skin in that area, and as slowly as I push, she's still kind of like, ooh, ooh. And I'm like, girl, I didn't do anything. But after that, I'm just going in with this diamond flame bit. Yeah, I'm adjusting the camera. Flame bit, not a skiver bit, but it still has that pointy end that I really like. It just helps to kind of lift up that eponychium area so I can kind of really get all of the dead skin that's in and around that area. If you're wondering what all those colors on her nails are, those are from previous sets. So again, we knew we were gonna go in with a brand new set, like soak off completely fresh for her birthday set. So I just didn't feel the need to take it all the way down to the natural nail. Also, I haven't been laying clear down on her. In anticipation for that birthday set, we are going to be starting completely fresh, so I just knew that it wasn't necessary to do that, and I didn't want to damage the natural nail. That's what that red is for. Just making sure to clean up as much cuticle as possible. After that, just going in with my coarse sanding band from Young Nails, and we are just lightly buffing the natural nail, just giving it a little bit of a scuff, and also thinning out any excess acrylic that might be close to the natural nail, just giving it a smooth transition so that there's no harsh lines. Not that it's gonna really matter, we're going in with a different color anyway, but just, you know, etching that area so that the new acrylic that we go in with will have something to stick to. So the acrylic that I decided to use today was actually one from Valentino. It's one that I got in a haul from Black Friday last year, or the year that just passed, 2021, and it's from the Victoria collection. It is number 6, and I've had my eye on it for a while, but you know how you can't really tell what acrylics are going to look like online? I've been going back and forth about buying it for so long, but I was just like, you know what, let's just do it. Black Friday, I had the deal, but when I was thinking about this set for her, I knew I wanted it to be a nude kind of shimmery color. So there you go, I gave myself a swatch, and I have this pack of glitter that I'm always having on the table just in the corner, so I just threw some of that white glitter in there and we had our perfect custom color. So it ended up being so perfect and so gorgeous, so I definitely recommend just buying like a small pots to have around just in case you want to like just make a custom color for yourself or a client. It ended up being so gorgeous and perfect. I was really tempted to just throw the glitter into the original Valentino color, but I didn't, but I'm very tempted to. You're gonna see it came out so beautifully. There is glitter everywhere, but it's in the acrylic, so it's not a big deal. So just getting started, you saw I dehydrated with some Mia Secret dehydrator and then went in with the Valentino Super Bond. This is actually an entire Valentino set, so super appropriate. And I am using the Valentino monomer. I use the Super Bond, and this is a Valentino acrylic, so all is well. The brush that I'm using is actually a size 16, and I didn't even realize it. I don't know, it was so weird because I was saying to her halfway through, I was like, damn, I feel like this 14 is feeling kind of big. And I checked it out, and it's actually the Kiara Sky size 16. But I know earlier when I first got it, I was like, oh my God, it's too big. It's so weird how things change. But yeah, just going in and, I was just explaining to her about like different amounts of beads and shapes and things like that. And that's, whatever. I was basically telling her that when I started, it took me like 20 beads to build a nail, really. She was asking, and I don't know, I'm the kind of nail tech that kind of like explains what I'm doing to my clients, whether they ask or not. Like, I feel like I'm always kind of like, this is dehydrator, the purpose of this is to do this. So now when I start saying it, they're like, I know, you say it all the time. But I just think it's helpful for them to kind of know or be involved in the process and to understand like what's going on. So like, she was concerned, like, how many beads does it take to build an apex? I was just showing her like on the blue napkin, like, it depends. People can do it in different ways, but whatever. And she was like, you don't dip your brush in your liquid very much. And I'm like, I don't. I prefer to work with more drier beads, but other people may prefer to work wetter, or you'll see people swiping off their product on their napkin more. I was explaining to her that I like my beads to be dry, as you can see, because I really like to focus on the shaping and molding of my acrylic, especially in this process versus in the filing process. I say it all the time in my videos that I am constantly, and you can see I will pat this one nail maybe 1,000 times before I'm ready to move on, and it just makes a difference for me because as you can see how sharp that pinky is compared to the other fingers. I don't want to do a lot of filing. For me, filing is like my least favorite thing to do in nails. So if I can, perfect my acrylic application in a way where I'm not going to have to do very much, I'm going to do that. She was just kind of like, yeah, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, but everybody has a different application style. So we were just talking about that during the set, and I'm telling you what we were talking about. But yeah, I'm going in with this super gorgeous custom color. So the Victoria number 6 is beautiful. It's kind of like a salmon. I wouldn't call it a nude. It's definitely more pink than it is nude, but it's so good. It's kind of like a brown, salmon-y colored toned pink. It's really warm. And it has hints of brown in it, and it does have a slight shimmer in it, which is interesting. But when I knew this client was coming in, I knew I wanted to do a nude shimmery set on her. I didn't want to do just a plain nude. In my mind, I knew I wanted glitter in this set. And I was actually toying around with the idea of just doing a glitter top coat. I have one or two from some companies, but I wanted the glitter to kind of be in the acrylic, right? Because I knew I wanted to do some 3D work, and I wanted that shimmer to be there. So having to go in and add the glitter was just such an easy thing to do. Definitely, play around with your own acrylics if you kind of just want. It just adds such a different amount of dimension. We were so just in love with this color. And like I said earlier, I was very, very tempted to add more glitter or add glitter to the original color, but I didn't. I might, but it came out so good. So I'm just going to be working on simple application on all of the nails, building up the apex as necessary. And there you go. I'm patting the free edge again. And as you can see how sharp that pinky is compared to the other nails, it's so important to me. So in terms of building up the structure of my nail, I like to go in with a medium to large bead around the free edge, depending on the length. And like I said, I like to work a little bit drier than I guess most other people. I don't dip my entire brush into the monomer. I kind of dip just like the tip, and then I drag the edge of my brush off the edge of the container. I use a little mason jar. Not gonna lie, it's like a little flat mason jar that I get from Michael's. I think they're really great. They're low, so I don't have to worry about them tipping over. I used to use like super high, like shot glass type of containers, and they would always fall over, but the lower the better for me. And then I dip it into my powder. I hold for a few seconds, and then I watch it kind of polymerize, and if you saw, I dip it back into the powder. So once the acrylic kind of soaks up all the monomer on my brush, I dip it back inside the powder to get just another coating of powder, and then I wait for that to kind of soak up the liquid. I might tap it on my napkin for a few seconds, and then I apply it to the nail. And as you can see, I then work that product down, making sure to push it to the sides all the way, and then I spend all the time it takes to pretty much not harden all the way, but enough time to where the acrylic is no longer moving, I will spend all that time kind of perfecting the free edge shape of the nail. So look at the middle finger and look at the ring finger that I'm working on now. The ring finger, you can see I'm kind of molding the product around. If it's a little pointy in one end, I'll use the body of my brush to kind of pat it back and forth. And I like to tap my napkin to remove excess liquid from my brush to kind of dry it out. So every time you see my hand go off to the right, that's me tapping the napkin to kind of remove extra monomer, removing the monomer, removing the monomer. And she was like, "Dan, you really don't use a lot of the monomer." And I was just telling her, like, I like to make sure that the acrylic is nice and dry at this point because it will hold the shape a lot better. And as you can see, I'm trying to build up that, not square because these are kind of tapered in a way, but that nice sharp kind of square shape on the free edge of the nail before proceeding, because once that's done, you kind of have the foundation and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's pretty good there. Then I'm just going to pick up my next bead, which is a little bit smaller. I'm going to wait for it to polymerize, and then once it's dry a little bit, then I'll apply it and then go from there. But you can see the free edge of the nail that I'm working on versus that middle finger is like night and day. I love it so much. That's what I do, you know. But I'm not going to talk your head off. Enjoy this acrylic application, and I'll chat you up in a bit. And I'm just wrapping up the acrylic application, and look at how beautiful the shimmer and sparkle is on these nails, guys. Like, I'm telling you, even now watching it back, I'm so tempted to just dump all of my white and kind of sheer clear glitter into this color, or in like just any color. I think just this type of glitter shimmer looks so good. I was saying to the client, like, I have so many of these kind of nudie brownie pink colors, but the glitter makes this just so freaking special. It's just a good combination. The Valentino Victoria number 6 and like white shimmery like sheer glitter. Perfect. So I'm going in with my e-file. I'm using a medium carbide bit, and I've got my speed about to a medium or high speed. Can't tell you what value that is because my e-file does not have an LED display or numbers around the dial. It's really by feel, really. For me, I just turn it up and go for it. And if I feel like it's not going fast enough, I'll speed it up. If it's going too fast and I don't have control, I'll slow it down. So I've just kind of learned to go with what feels good, but definitely can't tell you because I don't even know myself. But the purpose of the e-filing part, I know that this is a little bit out of order than conventionally as well. Because I focus so much on the shaping during the acrylic process, again, I don't want to be doing a lot of hand filing. I just think it's a lot on the body. It's just exhausting work, and I would prefer to not do any hand filing as possible. So with the e-file, I am smoothing out the surface of the nail. You see I spend a good amount of time on that tip. That's because I'm always patting that product to make a nice sharp shape, and sometimes I will back pat, is that a thing? But you know what I mean, back pat product. So it kind of builds up a little bit of additional product around that free edge. So I do often spend a bit more time there than anywhere else on the nail. I feel like I do a good job in making sure that I have a smooth surface, but that's what the e-file is for. And then I go around. What is she doing? What is happening right now? I have no idea what's going on. Maybe she was using her phone. Okay. Yeah, I think she was using her phone or something and needed her hand clean. But yeah, going back in with the that's funny. Going back in with the e-file, I am also going to be using it to go around the side walls and cuticle area to kind of give a good separation of the skin to the natural nail to the enhancement of the acrylic as well. Nothing crazy, just making sure to be careful. If you are someone who's a little bit cautious, make sure to use a safety or a bit that you feel comfortable using. I like using non-safeties. I like having that sharp edge available to me that I can use to get nice and tight around those areas. And look at how nice this finger is around that free edge. It's really good shaping already. Another great thing about using carbide bits like this, and I like to use a medium because it eats just enough product but not too much, is that I can debulk wherever necessary. So making sure that the apex is in the right area. You can see that right at the cuticle area, it's nice and thin, and then it builds up to have more thickness towards the middle of the nail. That's where I prefer my apex to be, and then thins out around that free edge. So I just enjoy using a medium carbide bit, but you can use like a 5-in-1, you can use a safety, you can use ceramic. There's millions and trillions of types of bits out there. Use whatever works for you. I'm just going to take my time to e-file these beautiful glitter nails. Once done with the e-filing, I go in with my 8080 hand file. This is from Pana and I love it. It's nice and thick and stiff. These are really sharp. You do need to be careful. What I try to do, if I remember, is to file my files with another file. And it just kind of removes that super sharp edge because you can actually slice your client's finger. I know I've done it to myself and I've done it to a client or two, sorry. But definitely keep that in mind when you're using especially lower grit files like 80 or even a 60. I've heard of 60s. I've never used one, but the lower the grit, the tougher that hand file is going to be. So you just want to make sure to prime it by filing it down or softening it in whatever way so that it doesn't actually hurt your client. I am just cleaning up the sidewalls. I'm measuring. You see, I'll take some moments to kind of measure it with another nail. And also, like if you have a client like me who has wobbly fingers, kind of like this one, sometimes you'll see me take a moment to kind of not straighten the finger, but just look down the length of the nail, the whole finger, and imagine kind of like a stick to be like, okay, so there you go. That's what I'm doing here. This is a wobbly finger and it does lean to the bottom left of the screen. So I have to make sure that in my filing, I am honoring the straight line and filing a little bit more towards the bottom right of the screen. So it has a straight appearance rather than being a crooked nail. So always keep that in mind when applying tips and in the filing process. You don't want to file along with a crooked finger because then you'll end up with a crooked nail and nobody wants a crooked nail. Just taking my time. As you can see, I'm not spending a lot of time on the filing portion. That is what all of that acrylic padding is for. I know I pat my product so much, but you can see how little work I really have to do when it comes to the hand filing. All I'm doing at this part is sharpening up the shape. That's pretty much all I'm doing. And it works for me. Do whatever works for you, but gosh darn it, this glitter looks so good on this color, doesn't it? I do finish off with that up and down motion on the free edge. Just make sure to squeeze your client. There, you got to move her hand out the way. She did laugh when I do that though. This client is a stiff-fingered client, so I just know how to like maneuver her fingers out of my way. But when you are doing this motion, make sure to squeeze the top and bottom of the nail so that the nail doesn't wobble and kind of lift away from the nail plate. It's very painful and uncomfortable for your client. Once done, I do have her wash her hands, but I still spray her down with some alcohol and use a manicure brush to clean off the nails in preparation for the gorgeousness that's going to happen right after this. So if you can see down below on the table, we've got some really cute fun stuff happening. I'm going in with the Two Guys Bling Gel. We're going to be using the Bling Gel method. We are going matte on these nails. And initially, I thought she was going to ask me to go glossy. So I had prepared myself to go glossy on her. But after I did her first hand with the acrylic, she actually said, you know what, let's go matte. And I was like, yes, in my head, kind of like I really love a matte girl. So once I knew we were going matte, I decided to do the Bling Gel method. I am applying a nice generous coating of that Bling Gel. It is a no wipe, but I'm going matte. So I am going straight on top of it, haven't cured, and we are going to apply some matte top coat. This is Matte It from Not Polish, and what you want to do is kind of just float it on. I'm not pressing super hard into the Bling Gel. You don't want to disrupt it. You just kind of want to have 2 layers of gel for whatever items you're going to stick into to hold on to. Once done with that, I'm going to clean up any mess. Sidewalls, it's going to be really thick. So just be cautious about your items. They may shift, so work quickly, clean your sidewalls, and then have the client cure for 1 minute, and we're gonna have a beautiful matte nail with these super pretty items in them. So you see me, I'm cleaning up. I don't want to warp that shape that I spent so much time patting and filing for. And then we are going to be working with rose gold with these colors. So I'm using these rose gold braided rings. In a diagonal, I'm going to be adding some larger crystal AB rhinestones in them, gorgeous, and then 2 smaller crystal AB rhinestones in the same diagonal line. Again, I'm going to have the client cure for 1 minute, and then that's going to be locked in and done. Cleaning up just to make sure we don't mess up that beautiful shape. And then this is what that's looking like, super gorgeous. I don't know about you, but I always love the look of like items sticking out of matte because it just it just looks like it's just coming out of nowhere. I don't know. The sparkle on a mat is just so luxe, and it's really easy to get doing the bling gel method versus using like an adhesive glue and then having to matte top coat around. It's very precarious in terms of like not getting that matte top coat on top of your items, but I just love the way that that looks. So we're finishing off the rest of the nails with matte top coat. We are only going to be adding some extra something to the one ring finger nail. I did leave the middle finger out in this clip, but we actually do go back and paint it. I was talking back and forth with her, like, what do you think we should do with the middle finger? Should I do the same thing that we did on the ring finger? But we decided that it was just best to leave it plain. So you don't see me painting it here, but I do actually go back and paint the middle finger to be matte. So at this point, all of the nails at this point are pretty much done. We're just top coating. Let me get some lint off my brush. We're just top coating to set them off, and then the final nail will get its due. All right, so for the final nail, we are going in and doing some 3D flower work with the same custom glitter acrylic color. And oh, look, I dropped the bead on my finger. I'm not sure where this came from in my mind, but I just had the inkling to do a tone on tone 3D flower acrylic set on her with nude and glitter. I just think it was just such a nice breakaway from that holiday set. It just kind of reset us back. And I am using a acrylic brush. This is a size 4 I got from Pana maybe about a year and a half ago. And it's my favorite 3D brush. I do have a size 2, but that's like uber tiny. It's literally like a ballpoint pen. It's just really, really small. So we are doing these 6 petal flowers. 2 of them are going to have this kind of pointy petal on opposite ends, and then 2 kind of round petals are going to be sitting in between them on opposite sides. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to do 2 of these flowers around the gold braided rings and then just kind of squish them together. The thing with 3D flowers is to kind of use dry beads, and it's kind of hard to dry out the bead while it's on this tiny, tiny little pencil of a brush. I know I dropped so many beads. You saw me drop a bead on my own hand earlier, but I dropped so many beads trying to dry them out on my napkin. So one thing that I've kind of found that works is just placing multiple beads and waiting for one to dry while working with the other. So that's what you see me doing here. You saw me drop those 2 beads. This one is now a little bit drier after I'm working with the first one. If I feel like it's a little bit still wet, I just, go back to the first bead, dry out your brush. You want to pat your brush as much as possible. And the drier your bead, the more texture you're going to get in the petal, which I think is the best part. I think when you can see the little lines from your brush and, all the character that you're giving your petals in the acrylic, it gives it just a little bit more dimension and character. So I love that. I like working my flowers with a drier bead. Then we're going to go in and add 2 round petals on the sides of each of those pointier petals for each flower. On the flower more around her free edge of the nail is going to overlap, but I don't mind. I think it's kind of cool, but it's going to overlap the petal that's facing down in the middle of the nail. But it's a lot to explain. I'm not sure if I'm even doing a good job in explaining it. More of the story, when you're working 3D flowers, just work drier than you think. Give your beads time to dry. So you see I dropped 3 beads and I'm not even concerned with the other ones. Especially just keep in mind the temperature in your space. My big old dry old hand is in your face. Sorry about that. Give yourself some time. Consider the temperature in your workspace. Like if it's a little bit colder, your beads are going to be a little bit runnier. So you might need to wait a little bit more. Like my space is a little bit cooler this time of year. So I know that all my acrylic work is going to be a little bit longer than it normally would in the summer or the warmer months. And the drier your brush, the better. More texture, the better. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And work on opposite ends of your flowers. Don't put 2 petals right next to each other because they will bleed into one another. That's pretty much the moral of the story. But you can check this out. I did the same thing on both nails that had the rose gold rings. And once done, they're set. The nails are already top coated because we did the bling gel and top coat, and we are done. And here we are just wrapping up this final petal. Hopefully you love the set. Here's a shot for you. It came out so great. I'm loving how the glitter, even though it's under a matte top coat, is still shimmering through. I think it's so lovely and luxe and just special to do it matte. I love a matte nail, gosh. Tell me what color you would choose this set for yourself to be in. I'm thinking like a navy blue, kind of teal color would be like crazy special, or even a gray. Like this video if you like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.